It's the North Central Texas weather discussion video. This is going to be for Tuesday evening, January 20th. I'm Donovan Neal. We are gearing up for a high-impact winter storm across much of the region. Winter storm watch is already in effect, so hopefully we can answer some questions here. So this is the upper air look at around 500 millibars right now. You can see broad troughing across the northeastern part of the country, and down here we're cold and dry, and obviously nothing going on around here on the radar earlier today. And then temperatures earlier this evening, mostly in the 50s for many communities. And with the cloud cover, I do think we will see overnight lows mostly in the mid to upper 40s for many spots. And now here's a watch warning map. We have that winter storm watch that was just issued this afternoon. This includes all of north central Texas, including the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, much of Oklahoma, much of Arkansas, and northwest Louisiana. And I do expect for these watches to extend all the way to the east near the deep south. This is going to be a high impact event that will affect a lot of people. So obviously with a cold stable air mass, we don't have to worry about thunderstorms anytime soon, but tomorrow we could see maybe a few rumbles of thunder to near Houston, to the east in East Texas, around Louisiana and central Mississippi, but we don't have to worry about any severe storms. And then on day 3, which is Thursday, maybe a couple rumbles of thunders off the coast of East Florida, but that's about it. Now here's a rain for the next 7 days, valid through Tuesday evening of next week, And this is a lot of precipitation. You can see upwards of 3 inches around East Dallas County, near Rockwall County. So isolated 3-inch totals are possible, with overall for much of the region 2 inches or greater. And the main question is how much of this will come in the form of rain and how much of this will come in the form of wintry precipitation, freezing rain, sleet, snow. So let's try to break this down day by day. This is the European model. This is the 18Z run, valid tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock local time. You can see that trough, cold core trough, well in the north. Down here is zonal flow, and we could see the potential for a few scattered showers throughout the day on Wednesday, but nothing should be heavy or widespread, and this is not winter weather by any means. This should just be a cloudy day with highs mostly in the mid to upper 50s and a little bit of some sprinkles in some spots. Now let's check the high resolution rapid refresh at around 10 a.m. tomorrow. And it's showing pretty much the same thing, with light rain along and east of the DFW Metroplex. So on Thursday, the Euro is actually trended a little bit drier. So I do think we'll remain cloudy, with highs mostly reaching the upper 50s to low 60s on Thursday. Now Friday, this is where things go down south. We're already in heavy rain Friday afternoon, with the axis of freezing rain beginning in south central Oklahoma, extending far south into Wichita Falls. And as that Siberian air comes crashing down to the south, what will happen is we'll start seeing a slow changeover to freezing rain Friday evening and to Saturday morning and Friday night. Because the air is so shallow, we'll more than likely see freezing rain initially. Now let's go to the peak of the event, Saturday afternoon, and oh boy, this is a really big mess. Just a big wintry mess across the region. You can see we have freezing rain as far west as New Mexico, extending all the way to northern Alabama at around this time. We're in the midst of some heavy freezing rain and sleet at this time. Then down to the south is just a cold rain near south central Texas, but up north we would have some significant snowfall over parts of central Oklahoma, Arkansas, parts of the Texas Panhandle. I mean, this is one thing that I've noticed with this model is that it doesn't really handle sleet accumulation quite well. So let's get a second opinion. This is the GFS American model, and although it hasn't been performing well this season, it's showing some significant sleet accumulation for parts of the Metroplex and points to the west and east, with the axis of the heavier snow bands a little bit more to the south, along the Red River and a few miles down to the south, with the freezing rain well into south central Texas. So let's go to the Canadian, and it's got the freezing rain axis a little more to the north, towards our next neck of the woods, but we're still involved in heavy sleet. So I think the main idea is, I think this will more than likely be a sleet and freezing rain dominant event in terms of the impacts, the potential impacts. Now, could we see some snow? Yes, we'll get to that here in a second, but this is the sleet accumulation coming off the Canadian, and it's got anywhere from like 5 to 6 inches across the Metroplex. The GFS has anywhere from around 3 to 4.5 to 5 inches across the Metroplex, and this would make for some pretty significant travel impacts, mainly along roadways and highways and bridges and overpasses where the sleet accumulates. So that's not my main concern. The main concern is the potential ice impacts. This is the flat ice accumulation, not the freezing rain, but the flat ice off of the NBM National Blend of Models. And you can see the axis of the freezing rain extends all the way from El Paso down into the deep south, and extends all the way into the Carolinas. So this winter storm is going to affect a lot of people, but let's zoom in a little bit closer to our region. It's got freezing rain total. It's got ice accumulation totals anywhere from 1/4 of an inch to a 1/2 inch of accumulated ice. And I'll say, if this were to verify by any means, this would lead to a pretty disruptive to a crippling ice storm as a result of this winter storm, because it normally takes an inch at least to see some power outages. But if we have over a 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 inch of accumulated ice, I mean, this is where roadways will start travel become difficult to near impossible. Trees will start becoming weighing down. Power lines start becoming weighed down, and we start to have a real problem with power outages, in addition to the already hazardous travel. So not many of us here have seen an ice storm, this heavy. The last time we've had an ice storm this heavy was actually December of 2013, so pretty much around 12 years ago, give or take. So we are overdue for a significant ice storm. I'm not saying this will happen verbatim, but the signal from the models are there. The pattern definitely favors it. So this is something we really need to pay close attention to in terms of the impacts of this winter storm. So let's flip over to the snow side. This is the snowfall coming off of the European model, and it's actually trended a little more to the north in terms of significant impacts, but we still get an inch or two about in the Metroplex. But the real significant accumulations occur in northern Oklahoma and parts of Arkansas. Now let's go to the GFS, and it actually has this down to the south, where the Metroplex gets anywhere from around 2 to 5 inches of snow, with the heavier totals obviously along the Red River, with some areas seeing over a foot of snow. Wow. Obviously, I don't think it'll see this much snow, but the message is there that the closer that you are to the Red River, the more likely you are to see significant snowfall. Now let's take a look at the European, the AI version, the European ensemble here. And this is the probability of total snowfall greater than or equal to 3 inches. Not 1 inch, but 3 inches. You can see in the Metroplex we're pretty much anywhere between 50 to 80%. With a guaranteed chance along the Red River and much of central and southern Oklahoma, which means that at this point we might have to look at the potential for some areas to accumulate several inches of snow, maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 inches of snow. But this won't come with the main concern won't come from the impacts with this. It will come from the impacts with this along and south of the Red River. I mean, this looks like it'll be a pretty messy winter storm with the potential for significant accumulations of sleet, freezing rain, ice, and also the possibility of accumulating snow in some spots. So at this point, the best thing you can do is prepare the best you can, and think of what will you have enough food if the power goes out. Will you have enough clothing? Will you have enough shelter? Will you have an external source of heating? All of those things. And I'm not saying this to scare anybody, but it's better to be prepared just in case. Now, the best case scenario is that this turns out to be mostly a sleet event, and we see very minimal ice accumulations. But all it takes is a tenth of an inch, and that could really disrupt infrastructure, especially given that this is a weekend. So let's go to Sunday afternoon. Most of this clears out Sunday afternoon, but we are still very, very, very cold, especially in areas where there's significant ice accumulation and snowpacks as well. Now here's Monday afternoon, where the whole thing basically moves on out of here, and we are pretty much dry. The problem is we're still extremely cold. I don't think we get above freezing on Monday, so anything that falls will more than likely still be there through early next week, especially if there are snowpacks or significant ice accumulations. So here's a week from today, Tuesday the 27th. So we have that trough in the northeast, and down here we're pretty much dry for the most part. Let's go out 10 days. This is towards the end of the month, Friday, the 30th of January. You can see that trough moves out of the country. We introduce ridging to the west, and down here we're pretty much dry. Let's take a look at the numbers coming off of the European ensemble. What you're looking for is the green line. That's the mean of the ensembles, and it's suggesting anywhere between a little under 2 inches of rain between now and the 4th of February next month, and most of this we will see this weekend in the form of wintry precipitation. Now here are the numbers coming off the NBM, National Blend of Models here. Now I will say that the NBM will not handle this shallow cold air mass well. So the numbers that you see, especially for this weekend to early next week, may look a little colder. For example, if we have snowpacks or if we have significant ice accumulation, we might be in the single digits for Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday for lows. But then we warm up nicely we warm up into at least the mid to upper 30s on Tuesday, which will hopefully begin the process of melting in some spots. And the latest long-range guidance coming from the Climate Prediction Center, this is from January 28th through the 3rd of February, temperatures below average if this were to all work out. So this is the end of the Texas weather discussion video. I'll have more notes on my Facebook page. The next video will more than likely come Monday or tomorrow afternoon. So thank you for watching. Have a great rest of the night, and Godspeed.